This is Infection, the survival podcast, recorded live on Monday, February 13th, 2017, episode 109. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special Monday edition of Infection, the survival podcast. Infection is your source for the latest information on survival video games, bringing you the latest news, reviews, updates, and more each and every week. My name is Nick Craig, at Nicholas M. Craig is my Twitter. InfectionPodcast.com is our website. Joining me, back by popular demand, Brian Ulrich.
Yeah, thank you. If you want to find me on Twitter, it'd be at Boise Computer, or you're more than welcome to check out my blog, biteoftech.com. If you haven't gone and checked out our website, perhaps you're watching this on YouTube or some podcatcher somewhere, you should head out to infectionpodcast.com. We've got on the links on the right-hand side, links to join into our Discord group, to our Steam group. Also a place that if you want to find us, maybe you're on YouTube and you want to find us on your app on your phone for a podcatcher, there are links on the lower right-hand side that have a whole bunch of different ways. It'll connect to whatever method, if you're using an Android or using an Apple phone, something like that. You can click on that and it should give you the correct link. So I really encourage you to go and subscribe to us on there so that maybe, for instance, like today, you weren't expecting the show to be on a Monday. You can go and listen to it after the fact when you're driving to work.
Yes, our special pre-Valentine's Day show.
Yes, the Let's Not Get Nick in Trouble episode.
Hey, you know, this isn't mutual, Brian. But yes, it's important to deal with other things on Valentine's Day because I mean, Brian, you're a good guy and all, but you're not gonna. I'm sorry, Brian, you will not be my Valentine. I hate to break it to you. I'm sorry. No, those like little stupid cards or whatever, and you'd hand out in grade
little
school.
Candies.
Yeah, exactly. Just like they taste like chalk, like Pepto-Bismol. It's not good stuff. But we're here on a Monday, so I'm sure some people are excited to see that in their pod feed. Brian, let's get right down to business. 24 days to go until PAX East 2017. Tickets are in. Media credentials are in. Getting spammed by PR firms is in.
Starting to get games. And hopefully we'll find a couple. Well, okay, so first of all, from what I've read, we will have the people from Conan. There will be somebody there, right? Maybe some people from one of their U.S. divisions will be there, but that'll be pretty fun. We'll have a chance to talk to them. ARC, of course, guys there will be there. So it'll be interesting to see what games that we talk about on a regular basis that will be at, we'll go up and actually get to shake their hands and say, hey, we do a podcast talking about you guys.
Hey, we do a podcast.
They'll be like, who are you?
Hey, we do a podcast.
Yeah.
So we are rapidly approaching PAX East. And if you feel so inclined to help us on our way there, you can head over to infectionpodcast.com/PAX, PAX. And if you drop us a few bucks, we greatly appreciate it. I can't believe it's been so long. It was October when I purchased these tickets, so it was over 100 days away. And now
it seemed like
forever.
Now it's getting really close. Like I'm gonna have to start making sure I don't schedule things over those days.
Yes, I
don't plan very far ahead.
No, I'm in this situation where it's like, hey, we got to like do this stuff because there's only so many shipping days and things left. Like we still need to order equipment and stuff.
Most of it ready.
Oh, waiting on T-shirts, and I think that's about it. Gear-wise, and then I've just got to get our audio and video set up nailed down, but we should be, and we shouldn't be. We are good to go. So we look forward
regardless, everything that needs to happen has happened.
Yes, or the wheels are turning on them. So we look forward to bringing you that content, and that will be starting on Friday, the 10th of March, and that runs through the 12th. So expect maybe some Twitch live videos. I know there's an app on iOS that allows you to stream to Twitch. We may try that to just kind of goof around for a little while. Also, of course, a good way to we'll be posting pictures. I'm sure Brian and I will both be posting pictures and stuff on Twitter. That'll be at InfectionCast. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And if you are going to PAX and you're looking to go to PAX actually, and you need tickets, get in touch with us because we do have some tickets for sale. Unfortunately, we're not giving them away, but we do.
No, we'll be selling them at face value for the 2 days, Friday and Saturday. So because we got the media passes, we're able to sell. We wanted to buy those just in case we didn't get the media passes,
which we almost didn't.
We don't want to be like, oh, whoops, yeah, which we almost didn't. So we want to make sure that we got those, and now everything seems to be pretty concrete with that. So we'll sell those, and those will go towards helping pay for the rest of the trip.
Yep,
because we pretty much paid for those out of pocket. So
exactly. So if you need tickets or stuff, head on over, or you're going to PAX, head on over to infectionpodcast.com. Get in touch with us, and if you're going to be out there, definitely get in touch with us so we can meet up and hang out and do whatever.
Yep.
Should be
very good.
Should be a good time. I'm really looking forward to it. It's been a long time dream to go to. Well, I shouldn't say dream. A long time to do item was to go to PAX, and
I haven't gone to a conference in a while. So
there you go.
This will be a lot of fun.
Now,
and plus, last time I went, I was actually had a media pass because I was with two podcasters.
Wow.
Not to PAX, but I went to another conference.
Look at you!
And so I kind of got the inside scoop.
So Brian's gonna be the expert.
All the extra things you get, yeah.
The free breakfast.
I came home with bags of stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly what's gonna happen. All right, Brian. We do actually. Speaking of good news, right? Great news. H1Z1. This is the first time in probably this is the first time since Christmas that we've actually had anything of substance to talk about. So do you want to start off with these update notes, and then we had the big, we didn't even know it was going to be big, but a big community outbreak stream that happened just a couple of days ago. I believe it was the 10th. So that would have been Friday.
So let's go over it because they announced that there's going to be they have a test server update. So this was on the 10th. So this was 3 days ago. And it's in preparation for the live update and wipe that's coming soon.
Yes.
So they're getting in some of those final fixes, trying to get it, locked down, because they did say we're not going to release anything that we know there's bugs in, right?
Yes.
And another.
And actually, we haven't seen a live patch, I believe, since then. So as of right now, I guess they're not lying. This patch will kind of determine that, but they made it very clear. And this had something to do with Landon coming. He seemed to have really cracked the whip and say, hey, guys, you're releasing broken garbage content.
I think they always broke down. I think they always are because they kind of said they wouldn't do that originally. Like, oh, yeah, well, why would you
try? We'll try not to.
Yeah, we'll try. But I think they always are like, oh, this is just so buggy. We need to release something because people are getting antsy. They haven't seen an update in weeks or a month. With this one, obviously, they've held to that because they haven't, since they said that, I don't think they've updated anything real.
No, which I'm okay with.
Fine with me.
Yeah.
So right now, as I said, they're planning for this push live, and it says right now we're planning on pushing live tomorrow in the AM. So this would be on the test server though. And this was on the 10th. So this would be pushed to the test server. They said, meantime, here's some issues we addressed over the weekend. So zombies intersecting the players when rushing at them, causing issues with melee. So this is, I think a lot of it's when the player gets too close, or, the zombie gets too close to the player. And I think you would actually swing past them.
Yes,
was kind of the issue.
That was a long time issue.
So you'd have to kind of get that sweet spot of swinging and hitting a zombie. Zombies falling through ramps when chasing players into bases. Players' heads disappearing permanently, which I've seen screenshots of. If they hide their head by backing into a corner and toggling first person and third person. So you would do that enough, and like the head wouldn't spawn back in. And so you would just be, and I think part of this was an issue with when they're doing like first person versus third person, they're actually they're having kind of an arms version. You see a lot of times on first person where they're actually just arms. The camera is where the head would be, and you're not, all you really see when you're playing, and like a lot of these third person or first person shooters, they just model the arms.
Yeah, exactly.
As far as what the player will see. And so I think that we're switching back and forth, and then maybe because it couldn't see it was there, like it wasn't actually rendering it. So yeah, they fixed that bug. Metal shards description mirrored wood log description. So I guess they had the exact same description, so they fixed that. Crops function is expected now, but there are some aesthetic issues that may occur if and when you log out. So those are some things that they put in this patch. But one thing, they'll be having more details, as they get closer and closer to this, because we don't know exactly what they're putting in. They've got to be having two different versions of the game right now. There's the one that they're going to be pushing to live, because I'm sure there are things on the test server that they're not pushing out.
I would assume so. But unfortunately, when you pick and choose what you pull from test, we've seen this time and time again. They're not the same version. So you can test a whole bunch of things, but if you pull,
or maybe they're going to push test live. I mean, I would prefer that way, and they've not seemed to have done that in the past.
Yeah.
I think that's how they should do it.
I agree. Well, because you can't truly test if you modify. Exactly. Your test is no longer accurate if you change it before pushing.
So
live.
Maybe this is them going to actually a normal push.
I hope that's so.
Generally how you do. And that's something I've said. I mean, I've said it over and over again. It should be, all right, test is now stable enough. We're not going to add anything more to test. It's stable. We're pushing it live. Now after they push that live, now they're going to continue adding things to test.
So we do, with that, have some wipe hype. This is what they're titling it. It's been a really long time since I remember the last wipe. So this is this was from 20 hours ago. And as of now, I haven't seen any updates to this. But it does appear, as of today, they were trying to get the final version of the game to test. And depending on how stable, how accurate, how whatever that version is, they will have a live push of that soon, tomorrow, the day after. Typically Tuesdays.
They said this week.
Yeah, typically Tuesdays or Wednesdays seem to be their midweek, seem to be their test days. But I guess they were working over the weekend. From all that I've heard, and again, I'm a hypocrite. I always preach play on the test server. I don't. But from what I've been reading on Reddit from people that do play on the test server extensively, we've got a couple of members in our group. For example, Deacon, he's been praising the test server. So from what all I've heard is positive stuff coming out of the test server. So hopefully a good build went out, and there we go. We'll be good to go. Yeah. Hopefully we will have a test build of the game coming up, a live build of the game coming up midweek, ideally.
Yeah.
And that should be it.
Yeah. And I don't know if, have you read my message? Do you think that'd be a good idea?
Yeah. So I guess what we're going to tentatively do for the game of the week.
Before I said it officially, I'll have you confirm it.
So let's do this. If the live build goes out, we will do Just Survive Live as our game of the week. If not, we'll do some other standby.
We'll come up with something else last minute, but we can plan on that. They've got a whole week to do this. I know they're pushing. They said they're pushing today was supposed to be when they're kind of getting those last things into test. So they should have a couple of days to kind of make sure it's all stable and then roll it out. So I'm hoping if everything is in there and good, we'll plan on that on Friday.
Yes, and if not, we'll do another, one of the games that always works, Overwatch. Even we did Overwatch last week. One of the other big games that we know will be up and stable for that. So good news coming out of H1Z1. Brian, I don't care if they do a patch every 2 months. If they need 2 months to accurately
get stable, which is probably accurate,
which is fine, right? It's not fine, but it's better than the alternative, which is constant garbage,
broken. Nothing.
Exactly. That's what it is. It
never works correctly.
Exactly. So if in fact it's going to take them 2-3 months to do these patches, that doesn't bother me in the slightest. As long as they're stable when they come out, because I hate nothing more than when they egg on a test server, right? Oh, this is a great patch. It's a great patch. It goes live. The complications have appeared due to after it went live. It's just so frustrating. And that's why I haven't played it. And I think you maybe have the same experience with that. It's like, when the hell do you play? Every time they do an update, it's broken. And then after they do an update, I don't want to play. After everybody's already, built little, put ground tamps everywhere and kind of littered the servers. It's too late for me. I have no interest. So hopefully this is the first step in the
of many
right
successful
direction.
patches.
We did have the first in a while community outbreak streams.
And this was dedicated to Just Survive.
Yep, the first one in a while. Brian watched this. I watched this. It was short, shorter than I was, I don't know if I should say hoping, but it was only about 25 minutes.
But there wasn't a ton of aimless running around.
No, there wasn't.
I mean, that's usually what it ends up being, is them just running around doing nothing.
Pretty produced. So Brian highlighted this here, and this is some of the new melee system. Now, Brian, what are these orbs that we're seeing? You're the resident game expert.
These are the points where it's contacting, and this is kind of strange. I didn't realize they weren't doing this. I don't know if you want to make, okay, you can keep repeating this one because I won't go into the next ones. All right. So the thing is when you're doing melee, and I'll just kind of talk about how, for instance, you would do it in another engine, and how the right way to do it seems to be how they're doing it now. Usually you'll put something on the end of your axe that says, this is a physics object that if it connects with something, just like an axe head would, something's going to happen. And so when you swing it, whatever that connects with should be what takes damage, right? Well, I guess that wasn't happening. So you can see where the axe head is actually hitting these different zombies. And I don't know how they were doing it before, if they weren't doing it this way. But now you should be able to swing in this, like as they're showing, in a group of zombies and hit all of them. It seemed like on that one with that single, it seemed like it was doing like dual hits, maybe. And I kind of see where it hits once, but then once I guess those are just fading. So you can see like at the point where that axe head contacts, it's doing the damage. So you can swing and it's actually just wherever the axe is hitting. So if something's close to you, it doesn't matter. You can be closer to it or farther away. As long as the axe hits, you're good to go.
Yeah, which I guess, there is no secret that melee in this game and Just Survive has been atrocious for a year, maybe over a year.
I think they're just fixing it. And I'm sure that this is going to be something that they've actually focused on that hasn't been focused on in King of the Kill. So I'm betting you that they'll probably be like, oh, you fixed it. Can you give us some of that code? And then actually finally some Just Survive code is going to go back into King of the Kill.
Yeah. And ideally with this too is that, and they made this clear, by the way, if you didn't watch this community outbreak stream, it's short, it's concise. There's not a lot of BS in it. There's a link on the show notes, or in the show notes on infectionpodcast.com. I highly recommend you watch it if you have 25 minutes, because there's a lot of good information. They made it very clear that what they have been doing has been fixing an extremely broken and just clunky game. And I mean, this is case in point of what were some of the issues with Just Survive. The zombies, unfortunately, were unable to be a threat because you couldn't kill them with a melee object. Now that it appears that melee is coming back in full force and is going to be a legitimate way to kill somebody or a zombie, hopefully we'll have tough zombies again. I remember playing H1Z1 when you tried to not aggro zombies, because when you aggroed zombies, you died. But now you can run through and you just run away, and they eventually will just lose aggro on you. It doesn't really matter if you aggro them or not. So hopefully we get more back to that, a more hardcore survival aspect of the game with zombies that are actually a threat and are scary.
And I think that if they could, I know a while ago they put in a little more randomness to the loot, rather than hats or whatever it was. Like they would give them different color hats and different things, different loot was in different zombies.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be a really good way, just like you would expect. I'm always the guy who thinks the answer to everything is, well, how would it be in real life, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're ever wondering, how should I do this? Well, how would it be in real life? And if you take a look at the zombies, if people are dying to zombies, like you'd see some that are in survival gear, because these people that died are people that are probably trying to survive. They're not all wearing striped shirts,
they do have helmets,
cowboy hats with sunglasses. I mean, make them look, and then this is kind of
but they
the
do have
aesthetic
this.
that drives me crazy.
They have they have helmets, they have weapons on their backs and
that's
stuff.
What I'm saying is start making kits of like, here's what a survivalist would look like. Don't make it totally random, because sometimes you get totally random.
Yeah.
I would rather have it be to where they're just kind of taking like, here's what we would envision, and this is kind of the whole immersion thing, like what would you envision people dying like? What would they be wearing when they died? And make those preset, like make 50 of them, preset sets of zombies, as far as gear and stuff, and then have some of that stuff on their body, because if it's 100% random like it is right now, you get things that don't make any sense.
Yeah.
I remember when they first did that and they had just a whole sea of zombies, and you got the ones with the afros and they look like, they're going to the club. Like at the point when you're in the middle of a zombie apocalypse, you're not dressing like that anymore.
No, you're not wearing spandex and a wig.
Yeah, I mean, this. There's just all kinds of weird stuff that they're throwing in there, and I think that they could just, and kind of move towards the immersion a little bit more. Like,
I have a
King
feeling
of the Kill has become its own thing.
I have a feeling, Brian, that we will see skins being taken out of Just Survive.
I hope so.
Ideally,
replace them with something that's just as, something you would covet as just as much. Like if you're going to be replacing, you're worried about that, but they need to be pulling the stupid skins out of there if they're going for a truly immersive experience of this, is because that's what they are. They're hinting at that.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll see. Now let's go into a little bit of they have on here. They were talking about base building.
Yes, and it was actually the last community outbreak stream that was months ago, where we first saw hints at a new base building system. And what we have here is kind of equivalent to a speed draw of their designers building a whole bunch of modular bases. And I should have grabbed it. There was like 3 or 4 different versions of this.
So this is showing you supposedly what you'll be able to do in game. So they said it's easier to show you in their external editor,
which makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, because they can just sit here and do it like this rather than placing each one. But supposedly these are going to be all of the different segments that you have that allow you to, build this type of base. You should be able to build something, and I think it's going to be 3 levels, is what they had said.
Yes.
You'll have a possibility of 3 levels, but a ton more personalization.
Well, let's just analyze this real quick. What we have up here. There's a couple things to note that I thought that were interesting. Let me see if I can't get my my drawer out. Here we go. So there's a couple things. First is these. These are right now what you do when you don't want to be shot is you place barrels along the top of your base and you duck below them. These are half-height walls that you would be able to crouch above, and if they set the height right,
somewhat like a porthole.
Exactly,
much like
a porthole in the base, and you can line, as in this base does, all of the corners. All 4 corners have 2 of these on each side. A way to kind of protect yourself and do that. There's a couple of other things as well. You can see over here as well. There's a half-height wall that is set up there. There are roofs. There's an actual roof system all along this.
Yeah, that's being placed separately. It's actually modular. This is actually modular for the first time. They've done something that
this is huge, Brian.
Truly modular.
Yeah,
something we've been pushing and pushing for.
Right here, there's a little bit of a sky. There's a bridge that connects these two, but it's freestanding. It's open. There is also stairs that are, again, modular. Right now, you don't place stairs. You place a foundation that's got that L-shaped stairway on it. You can actually now place your own stairs to connect to another segment of your base. Ideally, a 3-story base if you feel so inclined to do something like that. This is big. This is huge. This is what we have been waiting for in Just Survive. And it appears now that it is as close as ever. I'm going to see if I can't pull up a couple of the other examples if you want to kind of analyze those a little bit.
And then one thing, so just kind of getting your point of view, because I have my opinion on this. Do you think that the previous team was lazy, not skilled enough to do it the correct way, or just didn't care? as far as putting together the first base building system, like what was the logic behind that?
Honestly, I think it was a lack of direction. It was a lack of what
they were just doing what they could get away with.
Exactly.
And no one held them accountable to say, you know what, if you're going to do this, if you're going to be working on the company's time, do it the right way.
Manson makes a great point. Complacent. I mean, it was just, if they essentially, they had if it's not broke, don't fix it, even though it was broke to us, not to them, I guess.
But if they would have if they would have started on so many of these things a long time ago, imagine where the game would be right now.
Yes, exactly.
A modular base building system.
Again, I'm going to jump. I'm not going to walk out on a ledge here and say this. I do believe that Landon continues to have a big role in this. He unfortunately was not at this community outbreak stream, but it appears at least obvious to me that he is maybe he is the one that is pushing this along, and then also Ben Jones, who is the lead designer. He also is again experienced.
This is almost parallel to what happened with Wynn on King of the Kill. Remember when King of the Kill was just not going in a good place before Wynn came in. And Wynn came from a bigger studio with probably very different standards and said...
Oh, they had different standards. If you look at the games they produced, they had different standards. They had real game standards.
And so he probably came into the company and just said, what in the world are you guys releasing? First of all, I'm not going to accept code that looks like, that's doing this. Like, what's the point of putting in this stuff if you're not going to do it at least 50% correct? You're putting in stuff that's barely placeholder quality. And I can only imagine what he thought when he first, because he sees stuff that we don't see. He sees stuff that's not released. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I can only imagine what in the world he was thinking when he walked into this company and just saw how they were doing things. And I think that, they need major, and not to bash on, I mean, I hate bashing on the employees, but some of it's out of their control. I mean, you get into, they talk a lot about it. It's the culture of the company. Like they try to get a culture, and I think that the culture was just so bad that this is what it was acceptable. Like, this is the kind of stuff they're putting out. You need to get it to where you're putting out something that you're proud of, not something that's going to meet a deadline. And I can't imagine that early on they were putting out things that they're actually proud of.
Yeah. And
I mean, how could you?
Again, this isn't the H1Z1 Love Fest. It hasn't been the H1Z1 Love Fest from very early on in this podcast. We have been very critical of the employees, the company itself, and everybody that works there. And I'm sure there are people we 150% had people at Daybreak listening to this show every week, and I'm sure those people are not listening anymore due to how critical we were of that game.
I mean,
but it doesn't mean I hate. But it's the truth.
To be a jerk to him.
But it's the God's honest truth.
I'm not going to spare feelings on this. Like, we look at this, and I see so many other companies that are smaller groups of people. I mean, we look at Unturned. Look at Unturned. Look what he is able to do by himself. One guy miscreated a much smaller team of people putting out a much higher quality product. And if you're saying, if you can give me no other excuse, then you know what, we're working with a much more difficult engine or much more antiquated technology, that's your fault. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't use that as an excuse because you're the one accepting the lower quality. I hate to, I don't like being rude to people, and there may be some incredibly talented people that are stuck in the middle of all that. And I feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that they're all bad programmers, but there is a bad culture at that company, or there was, that allowed that to continue on, and wouldn't let the people that were talented and good come out and say, you know what, this is not acceptable. I expect higher quality out of myself, and I expect to hold you guys up to a professional standard as well. And if they couldn't do that in that company and actually stand up and say, let's make this better, then that's a bad culture.
Yeah, exactly. There was clearly issues. Again, I'm pretty sure this was last week. We were having this discussion about the future of H1Z1. Please prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Prove to me that this game isn't going to flop. Prove to me that you're actually putting time into this. Because I want you to. I want this game to be successful. The reason I am here and Brian is here right now is because of H1Z1 Just Survive. Unequivocally, without a doubt. That's how this this is why you are watching this show right now, or listening to the show right now, is because of H1Z1. I want nothing more than this game to succeed. But as we've done over the past 2 years, we've continually called them out on their problems, and we will continue to.
And I think a majority of the time we have been correct. There were a few times, King of the Kill, when they released, when we said they didn't, that was you proved us wrong moment. We had another one here like in December, kind of a we were wrong moment.
Yep. We were wrong about the first invitational going off. We have been wrong on plenty of occasions. But as of right now, I've yet to be proven wrong on the future of Just Survive. Now, with this community outbreak, I hope I'm proven wrong again. So another one of these, if we want to analyze another one of these base buildings.
And on this one, they're actually going to show kind of the artist concept, because these are all just assets that don't have textures, just showing you the actual functionality. So once they get to the end here, they actually show a little bit of color, and I'm not a big fan of artist concepts, because that shows me that you don't have enough done to show me what it really looks like. But they like doing they've got artists there, so they like to do concepts, and
actually, I don't think it's this one. I don't think it's this one that has it.
So this one's just another variation.
Look at that! Look at those roofs! Look at that!
Yeah. And you see that on like right outside of the kind of the entrance, you see how they have the dips there, so you can sit there and shoot at people coming in.
Yep.
Or kind of guard. Like this kind of plays into the whole role playing. Like they have a big the people that are still playing Just Survive are really pretty much the role players and things like that. They've got to kind of cater to that audience, because these are the people that are still playing. I mean, people want to set up and act like, hey, this is a base. This is what it would look like in real life. People are doing all these things, that people are playing games of making mazes and things like that.
All the races and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, imagine how much better that will be now that the only thing that it's not the only thing they have to work with are boxes.
Yeah, exactly.
With preset entrances. You know what I'm saying? Like they can actually do so much more with this.
Yeah, and of course, if you're listening to this, you definitely need to go and watch these videos. It's one of those things that visually you just have to see. There's no if, ands, or buts to visualize.
And we'll have links, and I have clips that you can watch right to these. So
this is the one here that they will show the concept art with. But again, you're seeing two different
first, and then they do a sketch.
Yeah, and there's there's the other kind of half height holes. They're more like windows instead of it being one kind of horizontal block across the base. They're kind of little portholes. And here
now this is of course is going to be an over exaggeration.
Yeah, it's exactly
of what it is, but it's giving you the concept.
Yeah, and I think I actually have a static image of this so that we can view this a little bit better. Actually, I do not. But here it is, and there's a couple things to note here. There's a sign, a customized sign, which they referenced. They mentioned having customization. We talked about this 3 years ago. Clan customization, having some way to put a sign up on your base. There are wall torches, things that will be producing light inside of your base. There are heads on spears.
One thing that, here's why I don't like artist concepts. First of all, you see like all the sheet metal that's kind of the outside. If I'm not going to be able to randomly place that, if that's not considered to be a feature, I don't like to see it in the artist concept. I want the artist concept to be as realistic to what you're actually going to see as possible. Not, and so they show these kind of a random set of sheet metal that's sitting on the outside of this. And I know that this seems petty, but I really think that they should, I really think that they should focus on that, and be like, okay, here's what, if you are going to let people kind of artsy it up with sheet metal and things like that for looks, then put it on there. But I have a feeling that that's not going to be on there. So why put it in the artist concept? I know it looks cool, but I want to see what it's going to look like in game.
Yeah.
That's just me.
I agree with you. But this is what every artist
concept
this is every artist concept in everything ever. Every business, you look at any building artist concept and it's like, oh my god, look at this, and then it gets built, it's like, oh, this is just
I just
a
don't like when
slab
they
of
draw
concrete.
something that they're not going to live up to.
I
mean,
agree.
they've got sandbags,
which
which
they've
very
talked
easily
about.
could be in there.
Yep. There's
barrels, which
are
I assume
already
just
in
the regular
there.
barrels.
They mention specifically the heads on spears. They reference that, indicating that will be in the game as well. The signs, the sheet metal may be the only thing that isn't in there. I like that. There's kind of like a barbed wire on top of all of the half walls. It's actually not barbed wire. It's the stuff that it is used when pouring concrete. Kind of that those long like iron rods that are used to frame concrete that just look like they're bent over. So there's some cool stuff here. Also, they made it clear that bases will actually be on the ground. Right now, every base with a foundation is up. It's raised. And that creates a whole load of issues with not being able to issues with driving cars up. You have to ramp cars in, you have to ramp cars out. They fall through the floor. Things get stuck under the base, loot bags, people. Lots of issues that come up, especially with the game that, in all of these early access games, there are glitches. It's not a secret. But when somebody can glitch under your base and shoot up and kill you inside of your base and you can't see them, if this is the temporary, if this is the workaround to make that not be a problem, I'm fine with that. Because that was always useless space. We ended up just
brings up a good point about this. This gives them a huge opportunity for selling. And this is something we brought up years ago. I mean, when I don't remember when, but it's been over a year ago for sure that we mentioned this. But selling skins for custom base and decorations, or clan, maybe some sort of a banner for your clan, or even a sign for your clan. Like, that's the kind of stuff that people will pay for and just survive when they're less likely to buy every single pack of silly shirts and hats that you put out.
And it's, I myself and Brian have been very critical about buying DLC for this game. Now, if I could spend $20 to buy a banner that said Infection Clan on it, I'd do that in a heartbeat. I would.
You'd have people that would, that's the thing, is you can get a group of people to pitch in.
But you don't even have to do that. Like, I would have no problem.
That's the kind of stuff that a clan would be willing to do. Say,
exactly.
All right, I'll pitch in a buck.
If I could customize the experience that my group, my friends, our group of players would have, I would have no problem dropping $20, $30, even $40 on various things that, our logo could be on. We have a custom t-shirt, things like that.
Everyone can benefit from.
Exactly. And this is that, you want to talk about a moneymaker? That's how you do it, because these clans, they raise money. They know how to make money. We've made it very, talk about our PAX trip. We were able to crowdfund our trip out to Boston. I'm sure we could raise $20 to buy a banner. Banner. This is a huge moneymaker for them. So if somebody from Daybreak is still listening, please, please, this is a huge moneymaker for you, and it's a total no-brainer for a clan that's going to actively play this game. It's a no-brainer. Yeah. It's an absolute no-brainer.
And they could even link it to a website to where, they have a portal for your clan that you log in and manage it, and are able to upload maybe a graphic or draw it in a little editor. Like, there's a lot of things they could do that would make people feel that it was really worth the money to do it.
Exactly. So that's the base building, and then
finally here, this was kind of a little thing they snuck in at the very end.
A little thing. This was a massive thing that they snuck in at the end here, Brian. What is this that we are looking at?
So this is supposedly a concept of their new map. So if you look, there's two different versions of it.
Yep.
So early on, I have it. I think should be.
I've got both of them. So this is the concept, and you can tell if it's got that kind of water brushed.
It's their thought of, you see the base that's on the right hand side that kind of matches what they're talking about doing.
And then here is the in-game. So
this is pretty much a generated. There's a program called World Machine that they use to generate maps. This is pretty much the generated map. So they've generated the map. They've created the terrain, but as you can see, they haven't added in rivers, because if you look, the river is really just a blue texture,
Yep.
kind of showing that there's river here.
Yeah, which is not, they may just do the rivers and stuff later on, depending on how, how the sculpting of the map goes. And they made it very clear in this community outbreak that they were farther along than just this. So that means they have the map. It's in a world editor, world machine, and they are able
now, if
to...
you look also at that other one, that has the things for in-game in it.
Yes, this is from the engine. They said during the video, this is an in-game representation of the map. This is not a render.
This is a much more, because if you look at how King of the Kill was designed, it was designed to be more of a PvP, not survivally game.
Yes.
I mean, it's towns everywhere. Everything's kind of evenly distributed. Here, there's a lot more mountains, to where you kind of have to hike around mountains. You have to kind of move around the map. Maybe you can have a base that's just not sitting there so much in the open. Maybe they'll be focusing on less towns, in more area for people to build bases on.
Yeah.
I mean, I would assume.
So it's, this is big. This is a huge week for H1Z1 Just Survive. This is the week that they needed. Now the question is, can they not rush this?
Yeah.
Can they not
take your time until it's ready?
Can they make this a viable map to play? And again, if this takes 6-8 months to get completed in a great working state, completely propped out, if they could have we are sitting here at February 13th right now, Brian. If we had this map completely done in the game, propped out, even October, November, that I would be perfectly content with that. To have a completed product, not the thing that we saw with King of the Kill, where the grass is coming through it, you can't interact with items. Not that. A complete map done in the game, shipped to live. If we could have that in 8 to 9 months, I would be perfectly content. It does. I didn't necessarily want to come out and make a big deal about this because I didn't think it was possible. But King of the Kill would not, the Z2 map would not have made a good Just Survive map. There are too many little population
That's the thing is, I didn't
centers.
want to say, you didn't want to say that before because you just wanted something new.
Exactly. But now, now that this is the case, now again, Z1 I think was actually a pretty good Just Survive map. There was a lot of openness. There was a lot of nothing, which is good when you want to build bases because you can build bases all over the place. There's nothing there. King of the Kill, which is good for King of the Kill. There's little campfires. There's flipped over cars and those little seems like a lot of those points of interest are around like a tree, a campsite, something like that. There's a lot of those placed all over the map. Those aren't good for Just Survive.
Do you think in this that they really even need a big city?
Yes. I think
why?
I don't know. I just think a big city or two is good. If you want, now here's the thing. There are people that play Just Survive that like to PvP. So a big city, 2 big cities that
why not have smaller towns?
I don't know. Here's the thing. Would you consider Pleasant Valley on the old map a big city?
No. I mean, compared to what King of the Kill's big city is.
I mean, that's twice the size of the old one. I don't think there was anything wrong with the city sizes in Z1 for Just Survive. I think those city sizes...
If it was more of that size, then they didn't try to focus so much, because I'd rather have them have more medium-sized cities kind of spread out throughout the map than trying to do one huge one in the middle.
I don't think it's as necessary because the city is not going to be your main place for loot. It's going to be smaller houses, towns, other players. I look at us when we had a couple bases around in Z1 on Just Survive. We'd get loot. We'd hit the same neighborhood, the rich houses, down in E3 constantly. That was where we looted up, and the pizza shop and the. A couple of the other houses over there. That's where we looted up. We didn't travel to PV almost ever to get loot. So if they have the same city sizes that they have in Z1, I think that's great. Now again, the buildings that we have on Z1 and the buildings we have on Z2 are much different. I want the Z2 buildings, the Z2 city mechanics in Z3. Is that what we're calling this? I would assume.
I mean, it's
I guess it's
No, I think it can
makes
be its
sense.
own.
But for the next revision of this, I'm pumped. I'm super excited. I've been waiting so long for this game to be playable again. And a new map you talk about re-energizing your player base.
Base building. So talk about, because we've been talking about like what would it take to bring people back.
Yep, this is it.
A new map and real base building. Those were pretty much the main
and melee,
complaints.
Brian. What about melee? Melee.
I wasn't really.
No, I think that's a big thing. A real combat system, a melee combat system is.
If they make guns a little less prominent and maybe give people a chance to actually do melee, but right now they've always had too many guns in lately to where there's no chance to melee. Used to be you'd melee all the time when you first started.
Yeah.
You'd be at a spawn and you go up and start hitting somebody. Now there's just guns. Everybody has guns to where you're never even getting to that choice of am I going to hit this person with an axe?
Yeah. This is what the Just Survive community, I think, has been waiting for. And I am very optimistic now, Brian, that we've actually seen this stuff, right? We've seen more than just, hey guys, we've seen more than just concept art. This isn't just an idea of a new map.
They've got a map rendered and in game.
Yes. So
they've got the assets actually modeled for base building, and they've shown a proof of concept.
They have to just texture them, which is isn't that the easiest part?
And we don't know what the code is, but I'm assuming they're getting there on the code for getting it to place together. I mean, if they're doing all that work,
but the texturing,
for making it
together
isn't that hard.
The hard part is to have all the models and have them all connect and have them all interchange,
all snap together correctly.
Yeah, it appears that they've got some, if not most, of that done. And another quick thing about the buildings to note as well. Currently, you have lower level buildings and top level buildings. In the new base building system, everything will be the same. The wall that you use on the ground floor will be the same wall you use on the third floor. Everything is interchangeable. There's no lower level room, upper level. I think that's how it was. There was lower level and upper level objects, they would be different. There's no more of that. So everything now, you have complete control. You can use anything you want anywhere inside your base, and it's low. It's on the ground. It's lower. You should be able to just drive cars, and this is big stuff.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how they let you connect. Like, are people going to still be able to place platforms next to each other, like the ground levels? Like, are they going to be able to try to make super mega bases?
It doesn't appear. I don't know why you would try to still. I don't know.
Would rather have them not. I mean,
why would you need
to? Ruins it.
Why would you need to make a super mega base when you can have 3 stories of whatever the hell you want?
That's what I'm saying. Is to make it so that people don't just do those ridiculous projects. So they're going to make it so that there's an area around the base that you cannot place another foundation.
Possibly. No idea what that.
It'll be interesting to see how they do it. Because I would rather. I mean, it feels like when they can make a wall of buildings, kind of like what they've been doing with the racetracks and all that. Yeah. That really takes me out of the moment when I walk up and I just see that.
And they did say that that's a huge reason for server lag and for server stutter is because of those mega bases. So they may.
Why not have clans be able to, kind of like you see in some other ones.
Miscreated does it with the chests. Look at you're limited.
Yeah.
Based on what you can
see
do.
how they have you claim one piece of land, and that's yours and that's what you build in. I think they should almost do that so people don't have 30 bases or 50 foundations laid across a map.
Yeah.
Because they're going to have a hard time controlling. They're going to go into some of the same lags that they were having before.
Yeah. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the outcome of this is. I am super excited for this to happen. I can't wait till there is a new and playable H1Z1 Just Survive. I really can't wait for it. So I think
we'll see.
I think that's it for Just Survive. That's the longest we've talked about Just Survive, or
just in a long time.
In a very, very long time. All right, Brian, do we want to announce our first game giveaway here?
Yes. So this one's going to be for 40 points. It's going to be exclamation point giveaway, and this will be Little Inferno. So I'll put a link here in chat so you can check that out. It's a fun little game. It's a physics game, set fire to things, but it's got pretty good reviews. It's a $10 game, and it's called Little Inferno. So we'll be giving away a copy of this after we talk about the next game. But yeah, just put ! giveaway in chat, and you'll have an opportunity to win it.
Yes, and our next game, of course, always up to date, always releasing new things. That is Ark Survival Evolved. We had a couple updates this week. Nothing massive. We are coming towards the end of the 2.5.4 revision of the game, and 2.5.5 is expected out next week. Actually on the 21st. So we're anticipating that
on the 20th.
launch.
So it should be a week from today.
Yes, we're anticipating.
So hopefully we'll have it to where if they release it, we'll be able to talk about it on the next show.
Yes, ideally. So here we go. This is 2.5.4.892. This was released February 7th, which was last Tuesday, probably just after the show last week. Fixed tame dinosaurs not pooping at correct rates, which is, of course, an issue if you're trying to
they're
farm.
Pooping too little or too much.
It could be an issue if you time out, your fertilizer and try to time all that stuff out. That could be an issue. And then further improved server performance by a significant margin, about 10% for that. 2.5.4.894 fixed another timer bug. This was a Capro jump issue. There may have been a cooldown between jumps or not enough of a cooldown between jumps. That could have been an issue as well. And then optimize the generation of large quantities of harvestable items. This is a major performance improvement to unofficial servers with boosted rates. For example, if you have 10x gather, when you grab something, you're getting, if you're normally get 3, you're getting 30, and that's a large quantity of items transferring back and forth, and can put a massive strain on a server, especially one that is
and
unofficial.
Just to go in, I mean, I'll go into a little bit of the nerdiness of it. But whenever on games like this where it's networked, whenever you're doing anything that the server needs to know about, you're not really running it on the server. So when you go to gather something, the server is saying, all right, you're getting this amount of this item, this amount of this item. All that stuff has to be communicated. And so if you're doing something to where it's a very much boosted gather rate, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I've now had to give you 50 berries, 50 sticks, and all these different things that they give you, that the server's really, it's not just happening on your computer. The server's saying, all right, here. And if that's not efficient, you're going to get a bunch of lag, and you're going to, it's unnecessary stuff.
I mean, for example, if you look at like the trike or the holy mammoth, I mean, you could go with one hit of the trike on an official server, you're getting hundreds, if not, 50, 60, 70 things per hit. Multiply that by even 2 or 3, and that is a significant, that's 2, 3, even 400 items per click on some of these official servers. That's a lot of information traveling back and forth. So I'm glad they were able to hammer that down. I'm sure that will improve a lot of. I've never played on an unofficial, plus whatever server for a long period of time.
I mean, we've done a little bit, but we haven't done to where pretty much you're getting as much as you need in one swing.
Also, there wasn't,
like some do.
And there wasn't 30 or 40 people on it at a time either. Where you would that's probably where you would notice this being more of an issue
when everybody's gathering at ridiculous rates.
Yeah, some crazy stuff going on there. So this is 2.5.4.9 fixed an issue with client movement synchronization becoming inaccurate on servers that had long running world save. So a really long world file. There'd be some issues, some movement synchronization issues with that. Reduced client-side memory usage of the 254 game assets. Again, trying to reduce things ideally for this unofficial servers that aren't running on maybe the best hardware possible, shared hardware. That's a pretty big. Added a disable menu translations option for power users to navigate through the menu more quickly. So this allows you to be able to go through that stuff quicker with that. And
so that's a setting now.
Yeah. So
where if you're going through menu, and maybe this is kind of them aiming towards that more competitive
CS:GO, like when they go through the scroll wheel and you've bought 50 things at the same time.
So that's, but exactly. That's the thing, is if they're going for the more competitive in the PvP, like those new servers are going to be, you don't want to have to sit there and wait for transition. You want to you'll memorize the different keystrokes and things that you need to do. And I think that's most likely the aim of this.
There you go. 254.91 fixed an issue with getting items with servers using harvest health amount greater than 1. I have no idea what that was.
So,
harvest
okay.
health. Maybe the health of the thing that you're doing?
Yeah, so it's how many swings pretty much it takes that you can pretty much gather off of that. So you can make it so that, like, let's say you're chopping a tree that has more health so that you'll get more off of that tree. Not that you're raising the gather amount for that tree, but you're making it so that that tree will take more swings to chop down.
Oh, okay. Okay. That makes sense.
So
Gotcha.
the pretty much the tree will have a little more health. So if you're getting, let's say 30 per swing, you'll get another swing in there.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. And then the big update of the week, I should say the only update that's actually got some content in it, not that the other ones aren't important.
Something new that's not fixes.
Exactly. Is the Ark Valentine's Day event. Talk about events for every holiday. Ark is the game for that. This dropped yesterday, so that is live now if you would like to go check it out. And this runs until February 20th. So this will bring you up until next Monday. So dinosaurs now, 10% of the time, will drop a box of chocolates when they mate. Box of chocolates can be used for...
creeper just waiting.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, I noticed you guys were together.
Hey, a piece of candy. Hey, a piece of candy. This will be full heal for a player, or this is huge, actually, or to advance 50% of a taming dinosaurs bar. So even a dinosaur that would take 12, 18, 20 hours to tame, you get 1 box of chocolate. You get 2 boxes of chocolate.
This is your chance for a giga.
Yeah, I mean, 2 boxes of chocolate, you've reduced your taming time. 75% of your tame is done. And just keep adding that on. Take 50% of those numbers eventually.
Would it do 50% of the total?
No, it would be you would do 50%. It'd be 50% of what's left, and then after that, 50% of that. So 70. If you have 2 right away, 75%, and then on that, 25 keeps cutting in half at a pretty quick rate there. So
good chance to get the dinosaurs that maybe are a really long tame on the server.
Exactly. So and it's a 10%. 10% of the time. It's not like it's 1% of the time. So if you just constantly are making the mate happen, I mean, it doesn't seem impossible for you to get multiple of these and have a couple at a time to be able to tame some dinosaurs. It's not like a crazy low drop percentage. 1% of the time. So this
10% of the time, that's good.
Yeah, exactly. This is cool for people that are trying to get those ultra rare tames. The new unlockable romantic facial and head hairstyles. These are via craftable item, and these are for the male and the female. And then there's a new unlockable heart emote.
It's probably it's the stupid hand sign that people are always doing on Twitch.
I don't know. I don't watch enough. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, constant.
That's I love my viewers.
The whole heart thing. That's what it is.
So
and then
cringy.
I think that the hair, there's one that looks like Fabio. You're probably too young.
No, I know who Fabio is. Yes,
but you've seen.
Yes.
So Fabio, I think there's hair like him, and then there's the heart symbol, and that's and I'm not sure what at the other. That's very romantic.
And then box of chocolates. It's very very romantic in Ark. And servers can launch, again, for you unofficial servers, you can launch with the flag V-Day to get extra 2 times mate boost range, 3 times mating speed / mating recovery. So you want to talk about
getting those 10% heart or
farming the living hell out of these boxes is not very hard on an unofficial
that time
server.
Of the year.
Yeah, exactly. 3x baby / egg speed, 1/3 baby food consumption. I don't do much taming, so I don't know what that actually means. All official servers will be running with this too at the end. So
the babies, when you're raising them, they eat food, and so that's part of the issue is you have to constantly be restocking the food that they're eating.
Okay.
And so it'll do it at 1/3 the rate. So you'll not have to stock the food as often.
Yes, and all official servers are running this. So this is anybody playing this game, you have a great opportunity to really take advantage to get some super high tame or high time tame dinosaurs out of this as well. A couple more quick things on this. Reduced lag on the inventory menus. Again, trying to streamline that maybe a little bit. Hair, this is pretty big actually. Hair now reacts to being underwater. The physics, there's actually physics to hair being underwater. I mean,
now that they have longer hair, so it'll kind of wave.
Yeah, I mean, if you've ever seen somebody with long hair in a pool or whatever, that their hair floats behind them.
Yep.
In most cases with that, so that's pretty big. Fixed various misaligned or missing water physics volumes on the island. And then the server custom harvest amount multiplier now works as it used to bias towards yielding rare items. This is more costly for server performance, so if you want a more optimized server with high harvest amount multipliers but less rare items, you can launch with a code. Use optimized harvest health equals true. Hopefully you took down all that gibberish. If not, there's a link on our website, infectionpodcast.com. This is update 254.93. If you're a server operator and you're looking for that flag, you can get that there. And I believe, let me do a refresh, that puts us up to date with Ark.
And they are looking at, so in 1 week, they're going to be looking at adding 4 new dinosaurs.
Ooh.
Adding
cool.
some more tech things. So they'll have a new mechanic called Tech Underwater Bases, Tech Power Generator, Tech Shield Generator, Tech Tile sets, and Tech Doors. So kind of getting your base to look more techy. And then 4 additional beard or head hairstyles and 4 additional facial hairstyles. So, and those are actually unlocked by acquiring the Explorer notes. So that there is now becoming a reason to use those Explorer notes because you get those hairstyles in the beards from finding the Explorer notes.
Yes. So cool stuff with Ark. We look forward to having them on the show in the future. We're still trying to nail down a date.
Negotiate, yeah, good day.
I'm not going to say anything, but make sure you're tuned in next week because it's a pretty big update with Ark, and we want to be able to cover all of that stuff. And then cool stuff with that. So, Brian, without further ado, do we want to
go ahead and do this raffle really quick?
Let's do it.
All right. So congratulations to Manstan.
Hey, there you go.
So he has one. I will send you a message. It'll be in your other messages. So
Joe really wanted that game. He's Joe was really looking forward to that game. We didn't rig it enough.
Sorry, Joe. Yeah, I have another copy. If you're that angry, I can give you
there you
later.
Go. So there we go. Again, another reason to tune in live to the show, not just to interact in the chat, but also to win some games, especially with our goal. I don't think we've actually talked about this on air, Brian. This may be a good midpoint to do this. We have been talking about, we've been doing a couple interviews. We've done 2 so far in 2017. We had Miscreated on the show, and then Jens Erik from Conan Exiles. Our goal is going to be to do an interview with a developer of a game, any game, big, small, whatever, a game that we see some interest in, a game that we think is promising. Every 3 to 4 weeks, we're going to try to do one about once a month. With scheduling, we've got a couple of interviews lined up that we won't announce until they get closer, but we do have some pretty big games that we talk about regularly on this show. Coming on in the next couple of weeks and of course months. Some of these are scheduled. Like we're booking out to. We're so big.
Or they're so busy. One or the other.
Yeah, one or the other. Doing one a month. You're quickly out to beginning of the summer with. I
guess that means we just have to keep doing the show then.
Yeah, I got damn.
I guess our final episode we were planning on here is like a month or 2 from now.
Right after PAX.
Yeah.
Wrap it all up. So we are looking to have some developers on the show. And if you either have a contact with a developer of a game, and any game too, we're not just going after H1Z1 and Ark and Rust and big games like that. We're also looking at some smaller, just maybe even
indie development teams.
Yes,
people
exactly.
that are
actually
releasing a game soon,
working on a game that actually care, are looking to make a real game. For people to enjoy. And I think Brian and I have a pretty good eye to be able to detect now when somebody is actually like really working on a game, or they're just kind of screwing off and doing something, which is fine too, but not something that we're looking to have on the show here. So if you have any recommendations, you of course can tweet us. If you say, hey, you need to have so-and-so on the show, you can tweet us at InfectionCast, or if it's
I always have Nisco is constantly messaging me about new projects, which I'm thankful for.
Yes, that's great.
It's like, hey, I found this new survival game, and he messages
there
me.
You go.
So
that's great.
It's good.
And I've been kind of looking at some of that stuff myself as well. And if it's more of a private matter, like you have an email address from somebody, you can send us an email, contact at infectionpodcast.com. That'll go to both Brian and myself. And, of course, we appreciate that stuff. This is the year for Infection Podcast. Let me just tell you. We got a lot of really cool stuff planned with the show this year.
Great.
It's going to be...
All right, so do you want to jump into some Conan?
Yes. What do we have in... You want to start with the updates first, or you want to start with the big story of the week?
Let's go first into just the update. Let's go over the updates really quick. Because, I mean, they're not huge, so we can go through those pretty quickly. So they had 2.8. I have to read these because these are in European format. So
America.
2.8.17. Yeah. They added Steam Connect and passwords should be working properly again. So this would help because on top Conan servers, the links and things weren't working correctly. You'll now be able to change filters on the server browser while the list is refreshing. So let's say you hit refresh, you can now click and do the different filters in there and it won't mess it up. The crafting bug involving duped phantom items should now be fixed. And it says praise Crom. And this is something that we talked about last week of you would craft and you'd have something in your inventory. You actually would be carrying it in your arms and it wouldn't do any damage. Thralls will no longer attack unconscious NPCs. So I'm assuming that would be a problem if you were dragging back another thrall to tame and all of a sudden the thralls that you had in your base would start attacking that thrall and kill it. So they will no longer do that. After a few turns of the Wheel of Pain, the server browser has promised to stop brutalizing network adapters. So
I like these update notes. They're very they're funny. There's a hint of sarcasm in almost every one of these.
Yes. So so the server browser, because I guess people were probably hitting maybe refresh a bunch of times. I don't know what they mean by the yeah. So it was probably just causing huge amounts of network traffic. So they fixed that. It says they are working on the clans crashing server and disappearing altars issue. So they recognized that was happening. And then the next day, so they were putting out a patch each day. So this is now the 9th. So this is 2.9.17. And they did a server should no longer crash when joining or leaving guild with thralls. So that was a pretty specific issue. And they said they're still working on the disappearing altars issue. And then the next day, so they had 2.10.17, and actually had two this same day, but added ability to directly connect to a server by entering its IP and port. So you don't have to have a host name. This may be done from a new button on the bottom left of the in-game server browser. So you don't have to do it from the navigation, inside of Steam. You can do it in the in-game server browser. You can actually type in an IP and a port and connect directly to there. And so this is intended to circumvent the issue when connecting to LAN servers. So you should be able to connect to a local game this way because you can put in the local IP address, and it'll actually work correctly locally. And then they did a small patch here. So this was 2.10.17a, and this was performed optimizations to reduce server lag. And I'm sure that is something that people were looking forward to because there was a while of rubber banding. Fixed certain cases where altars would disappear after a server restart. It says if you still encounter this, let them know. So this is the thing they were talking about. Fixed connecting to dedicated servers when a LAN server is running on the network. And then the ghostly warrior to the southwest of the exiled lands has passed on to the next realm. So this is the one that we ran into that one day. That was just kind of a warrior that was standing there.
I thought I had a screenshot of that too. I think I deleted it.
I'm pretty sure I thought you did. You must have deleted it then.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. But yeah, there's just it looked like Conan himself.
Yes, just
there. We ran up to him. We're like, "Is that Conan?"
And it was weird because the hair was blowing in the wind and everything, and it was like there was movement on the character, and you just bashed at him, and nothing happened.
Yep.
I was actually a little concerned. I was like, "Oh man, this is like some crazy hard NPC that's gonna show us what this game is really about."
And it was nothing.
Exactly. So there we go. And does that bring us up to date?
Yeah, that brings us up to date on the current notes.
And of course, today being Monday, there hasn't been a patch yet today. They may just be working on issues from the weekend still, which is fine. Again, here's the thing: this launch has been very far from perfect. Some could say a disaster. Seriously, I mean, no,
Point,
seriously.
yeah.
I mean, you could say a disaster with the issue with the servers they had. You could say this was a disaster of a launch.
Yep.
But the way that they have been so vocal and so open with everything, and of course, again, Zarek is the one that's pushing out some of these with Andy B. They've been very upfront, very out front with this, and that's the reason that I am not said, screw it, I'm never going to play this game. I want my money back, because I can see that they're working on the issues. For example, I'm not playing the game right now. I don't want to play it until I can have a good experience with it.
That's why. I mean, I've been not pushing myself, because I know our usual clan mentality is we will play the heck out of a game until we're sick of it.
Yes.
And there are people doing that. But I'm trying to make it to where when I come in, like, I don't get frustrated with it, and I want to keep on playing it over a long period of time. So I've been holding myself off and playing a little bit of Life is Feudal, things like that, just to keep myself from going in there and hitting that ceiling, because a lot of the content's probably not in there yet. I don't want to hit that ceiling and be like, okay, well, this is what the game is, and then
We Happy Few, great example of a game that they didn't add enough content to, and now everybody's just kind of
JD
waiting.
says Nick will want to play it after everyone else is over it.
No, but I guess let's get into, so this week, or I should say last week, we had the official servers finally go up after being down from the start, and then these are being, it was a rumor last week, it is now official that GameServers.com is the one that is providing the server hosting for this. I would recommend checking out their Twitter. There are issues with some of the servers still. I do believe now all of the US and European servers are back up, and they're waiting on hardware for other servers. So they rolled out new hardware for these servers. They weren't just using some old servers that are sitting in a corner. New hardware.
They must realize that this takes a certain amount to run it. Like, they're dedicating more resources per server for this, so that's good.
So that's really good stuff. Go load the game up and see what servers are listed. They've actually done some other stuff to the server list that is pretty important too. I don't know how recently you've played the game. It now before it would say refreshing, and it wouldn't tell you what was going on. Now there's an actual thing, like a text under it that says what it's doing, and then in the upper left hand corner it says loaded. And it's a scrolling number of how many servers you've loaded into your server browser, which seems to be better, because sometimes if it hangs up but it tells you, oh, it's loading, that's fine. But before it wouldn't say anything. Sometimes the button works, sometimes the button didn't work. So of course,
it's always kind of a guess.
Exactly, and they made that reference to the server browser kind of destroying your network device. Now you don't need to spam it because you can actually see what it's doing. So official servers are back up. Player cap right now is 40 on these official servers. They will, and they said they will be turning that up slowly. Hopefully I would like 60 to 65, ideally, because 40 is a pretty limited, especially with our group. I mean, we could have 10 people, 12
We'd have
people
the server
at any time.
possibly
Exactly, which is quite a problem for us. So if you're interested in playing with our group, I'd recommend heading on over to our Discord channel. There's a link on infectionpodcast.com to do that. And you can jump in a Conan channel and figure out where people are playing. We're kind of all over the place right now. Everybody's doing their own thing.
Waiting for officials to come up and things like that.
There's a couple people playing on a Blitz.
Servers.
There's a couple people playing on a Blitz server. Joe's server's up, but not very much. There's a whole bunch of issues, but hop in our Discord and you can get the latest on what we're playing at any time. So
yes,
that's Conan for at least for the servers. Now we do have, Brian, some events that Conan is going to be appearing at.
Yes,
and some other useful information on this game.
So then that's the thing. They did mention here they sold over 320,000 copies of the game in the first week. It's very good, and so they are they're showing some gratitude in this post, and also they're talking about the mods, the dev kit that they'll be putting out. So you'll be able to access that. So it says download the Unreal Launcher, which is pretty much the editor for creating mods, and then they'll have a dev kit that you can use, and create. If you want to create maybe different tools, weapons, mechanics, all the same things that you were able to do in Arc and similar games. You should be able to do in this. And if you know blueprints or you know anything about 3D modeling and things like that, you should be able to customize this game, which will be fun because that keeps a lot of people playing. So I'm hoping that they can make it easy enough, and smooth enough to be able to do that. And we'll see some pretty cool mods coming into this. That's one thing that Arc was able to do, was based on some of the mods. I mean, if you look, like the tech force field, I don't know, I think that's what they called it. That is something that originally was a mod. So that there was something that they see people, okay, these are the top mods that people are making and downloading. Let's put some of those features into the game, and that's what they tend to do. So hopefully, if there's something that you say, hey, I wish this game had this, make it as a mod. If it's popular enough, I'm sure that then a company like this would be willing to look at that.
Yeah, I mean, look at what Arc shelled out tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to the mods. To mods for, I mean, Primitive Plus. Maps. Primitive Plus is a mod. Somebody made that. A person or a group of people made Primitive Plus, and it's now an extremely popular and successful game mode in the base game, and they paid for that. Saved sure as hell saved them a lot of time and money. So hopefully Conan kind of takes up that same attitude, because the community just can do some really cool stuff for that. So
yeah. And then they're announced that they're going to be at GDC 2017, which is in San Francisco. So that's going to be here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, that's soon. That's right. That's actually next. That's the 28th, 27th, and 28th, I believe, is when that starts.
Like
2 weeks
in 2
from
weeks.
now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then in March, they're going to be at PAX East. So, so we will have to go say hi to them. And so they said to go ahead and drop by and chat with them. So I'm looking forward to that. We'll go and say, hey, thanks for the interview. Actually going to thank him in person.
Hopefully Jens Eric gets to go out there. I'm not sure if they do have an office in I believe it's in Wilmington, North Carolina, or Raleigh, North Carolina.
I think it was Raleigh.
So
maybe
they've got an office in the U.S. and in Oslo, but the Oslo team is the one making Conan Exile. So I would imagine it's going to be some of the people from Oslo, which is really cool. Looking forward to hanging out with some of those people and saying hello. So cool stuff with Conan. Again, Brian, it was a disaster of a launch. Let's be realistic here. They had to dump their server host. The official servers were down for it. It's not a bad thing. It's the truth. I mean, there was a massive issue.
But at least the thing is they dealt with it.
Exactly.
And there's a difference between kind of stumbling and falling down and laying there, drooling, or versus getting up. Like they got up and they've been dealing with the things as they come. I mean, they've released the game on a totally new engine. That this is a process of getting things stable, learning how they work, dealing with, this wasn't such a great server host, moving over. Like they've dealt with it all, and they've continued to get up, and as long as they keep getting up, then that keeps me satisfied.
Yes, exactly. It's I'm content with what we have right now with the game, because it appears that they are staying in front of the game and keeping the community up to date with all of the fun stuff that's going on with their game. So I look forward to being able to play this. I would say probably by next week, if not the week after. They should have most of the big issues nailed down server wise. I just want it to be as efficient as possible. I don't want you guys did this.
We've got a lot of people building some pretty crazy bases.
Yeah, and you and I have already done this a couple times. Create a new character and start from scratch. I think you've done it. I think on two more on a server, two more than I have, and it's just like, oh man, like the same 6 levels on every server that you get to before you abandon it. So we'll see.
I'm just waiting for a little bit of stability.
Yeah, there you go. So cool stuff. Cool stuff with Conan. Of course, we'll keep you up to date with that, and they're going to continue rocking and rolling. It appears with that. Now, of course, excuse me. Do you have anything else on Conan before we move on?
No, I think JD, he was making a comment. We expect to see some Conan cartoons from Green Man.
He can make a whole one.
Are they going to be censored or no?
I hope it's a whole one with just like trying to get into a game, like it's hammering the server launcher, just punching the wall with one hit, and having the whole thing collapse. Cool stuff with I think he actually is working on a Conan cartoon that we would expect to see hopefully sooner rather than later. So without that, let's move over to Rust. Of course, with another week comes another Conan video. Conan update. Video. Excuse me. Not a Conan video. I'm looking at a Conan video here. A Rust update video. This update is the trend that it seems like a lot of these games. 7 Days to Die, I believe, is implementing one of these as well. The vending machine. Fallout's got the vending machines. These seem to be big around survival games. Some type of automated
easy way to deal with
economy
with that whole mechanic.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting way for them to make either an NPC trading system, or I believe in 7 days you sell your thing and then you put it in the machine for a price, and then somebody can buy it.
Yeah, it's like an auction house.
Exactly. So this seems to be kind of the popular trend with some of these survival games. So we do have a Conan dev blog video. This is
Conan.
Rust. This is a Rust.
Conan on the mind.
I do. I'm so excited to play it. Can't you tell? This is Rust devblog number 147.
Greetings, survivors and friends. Shadow here, talking to you thanks to the first of 2 big changes to Rust that should open up more possibilities for player interaction through our base's walls than the invention of in-game voice chat. As part of the same exercise to grab low-hanging fruit from the depths of concept limbo that saw the addition last week of flame turrets and tuna can wall lamps, we now have not 1 but 2 more new features to fiddle with, the first of which being a fully functional armoured door hatch. Yes, door campers now have something to get in a flap about, as these not only allow you to see out of your home, but also post gifts to visiting players, such as bullets of friendship. Working now in both the single and double door versions, you can access the function by holding E whilst looking at them, as long as you're authorised on the lock, of course. This should be an interesting new mechanic, but just remember, it is possible to shoot in as well as out, so don't go leaving the thing open, will you? But that's not all. Vending machines! Yes, indeed. After being teased as much as 6 months ago, we now finally get to play with them, and I'm going to give you a full rundown of how they currently work. A craftable item costing 3 gears and 50 high qual. You can place these on open ground if you wish, but ideally they're designed to fit perfectly inside a standard door frame, and can also be fitted with a lock. By holding E on the back, you can either access the machine's inventory or the admin panel, which lets you add sales orders. So for instance, I could decide that for some bizarre reason I wanted to sell wolf skulls for 3 rocks each. Now popping round at the business end, and as long as I've actually added stock of the items I wish to sell, passers-by can shop till they drop and the whole thing will manage itself. Multiple sales orders can be set up, and depending on what items you decide to sell, the machine could be left to run itself for a very long time. Just be aware that at present it will accept or indeed sell broken tools and weapons without checking their quality, so until that changes, caveat emptor, or let the buyer beware. I know what you're thinking though, what if somebody destroys my beloved vending machine? Well, that's certainly possible, and either 1 C4, 3 rockets, 4 satchel charges, or 1,000 thwacks with a pickaxe should do the trick, but if you've taken the precaution of locking it, then it's not guaranteed to give raiders all of its contents. Something else worth mentioning is that finally it's possible to play Rust with a Steam controller, if that's how you choose to live your life, and use in-home streaming. Up until recently, easy anti-cheat was preventing both of these, but now they work. Personally though, I'm going to stick with mouse and keyboard, if that's okay with you. A few other small changes were made this week that you might like to know about. Code lock lights glow green instead of yellow when unlocked. Paper is much cheaper and now only costs 5 wood, which should go a long way towards saving the environment. Large furnace inventories can only be accessed via the openings instead of other random places such as the chimney. The flame turret has new sounds, apparently sampled via an old push lawnmower, and waterfall damage was changed. That's not damage from waterfalls, by the way, but rather that falling into water any deeper than about shoulder height will no longer break your ankles. There was a bit of a kerfuffle on many servers this last week caused by the discovery that running a command in the connection queue would make the game think that it was being run via Archon or at the server console. And what was the responsible thing to do with this important knowledge? Give everyone on the server AKs and 1000 C4, of course. Why not? Fortunately, this was patched very quickly and the fun was over. However, some servers, or at least what was left of them, had to be wiped. Other fixes this week include one for a server physics crash that could occur straight after server startup when loading large saves, improvements to anti-hack that mitigates a recent fly hack exploit, and another fix that closes a loophole allowing players to craft certain uncraftable items such as the LR300 and wind generator via console. Also, if you either like to or indeed have to play Rust on the lowest shader settings, then as of this update you may notice a change to the quality of the textures, namely that they're now more detailed. There's a slight performance impact, but this was kept to a minimum and the trade-off will hopefully be worth it. Over to work in progress now, and nature is poised to attack our dungeons and monuments like a screaming ball of hot leaf mulch, as these shots hopefully illustrate. Overgrowth is on its way, and soon weeds will be pushing their way out of every available crack, with trees growing out of whatever other places are left. Some terrain plants are being adjusted to keep visuals consistent across the island, and as these changes obviously introduce more props, a new foliage shader is being worked on too, which will hopefully help with performance. The bunker rooms in the underground military tunnels are really starting to look like the sort of place you'd expect a xenomorph to be loitering, and I can't wait to lurk around them myself when they go live, hopefully in the next forced wipe. Dynamic occlusion culling was introduced, which basically for now should improve performance by culling such things as players and ragdolls based on line of sight, and in future will be extended to include NPCs, monuments, and other elements of the world that could speed up performance. It's currently on by default, but if it causes you any bother, you can disable it in console with culling.enabled 0. Lastly this week, new third-person animations were completed for the crossbow, double barrel, Ioka, and flamethrower. These are now far more detailed and should correspond a lot better with what you see in first person, being a good indication of what point a player is in the reloading cycle, for instance. Leave me a comment please as to what you thought of this week's update, tickle my buttons if you'd be so kind, and come and say hi to me on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook and Steam. I shall catch you all soon of course, but in the meantime, keep calm and stay rusty. Cheerio.
All right, another thanks to Shadowfrax for producing another dev blog.
Yeah,
it's funny how they introduced that flamethrower last week and they're already like redoing the sounds on it, and it's just funny how like it's so soon that they were able to do that. But man, this game is really, if it only had the community, this would be a legit like a, this would, I think this would kind of run parallel with 7 Days to Die, in a sense. If it just had the community, it's got a lot of the similar elements from 7 Days to Die that I really like, but the community is just terrible.
And that's
it sucks, but
that's the thing on this is, for instance, like they had the vendor that you can destroy with one C4.
Yeah,
I mean, they should make it so that there's no reward for doing that. If you blow it up with a C4, you don't get anything, because now people are just going to go destroying those all day.
Yeah, well, exactly. So,
I mean, that's kind of still feeding that trolley community of, oh, we put these cool things in. Oh, if you destroy them, you still get something.
You get part of the loot, exactly. So, who knows? It would be fun if it docked you, like if you did stuff like that. There's some type of penalty, but.
Yeah, or it's like it's a damaged item. If you blow it up, like it's got really low health.
Yeah. So
I don't know. They're still kind of feeding those trolls, and I just
I agree 100%. So that's Arc. That's the latest on that, and of course we'll have another update on that next week with that. What's next on our agenda here, Brian?
All right, so Unturned put out another update this week.
Cool.
and they're actually doing a contest. So this is 3.17.17.0. And they said, if you are a survivor with an eye for photography, you're in luck. This week, we're running a contest to update Unturned's loading screens.
Cool.
So if your screenshot is selected, it will be used in the background art, and you'll win a special in-game item. So the requirements for this is that you use a 1920 by 1080 resolution. Disable the HUD, so you can do that by pressing the home key on there, and unless you've changed it. So if you've remapped that, you'll have to figure out what your disable HUD button is. Turn up graphics to ultra for the screenshot. Use the screenshot key for 2x resolution. So if you press the insert key by default, the output image will be saved as a screenshot as the file called screenshot.png in your unturned folder. And it says no post-processing mods or image editing, please.
Darn.
So don't do any kind of mods that are going to change and make it look any different. And then he has an email address. So it's contest@smartlydressedgames.com with a link to your screenshot and your Steam profile so that they can grant the award to you if they choose yours. So that is a contest they're doing right now. So if you play that, maybe you'll be in one of the loading screens.
And as of right now, though, the email server died due to all of the images coming in. So I don't know if that email address actually works. So
hopefully he'll have that straightened out. This was 3 days ago, so I'm assuming he's gotten that.
One would hope.
That fixed. And he added a keybind for taking a 2x resolution. So that in this patch, and that's probably part of it, he added that when you hit insert, it takes a 2x resolution screenshot, so it'll be twice as clear. And then they added swimming trunks to beach spawns, so you can actually get some shorts to wear around and swim during the zombie apocalypse. They added credit screens to the main pause menu, and they added animated lava object. So they can now have lava in the world. They tweaked the vehicles with inconsistent numbers of physical and visual wheels to have invincible tires temporarily. So yeah, there was an issue with the tires. They fixed foliage-related performance regression. They fixed equipping newly dropped exchanged items. They fixed non-physical tires appearing dead on client. They fixed unable to use batteries/tires while in safe zone. They fixed potential incorrect not playing on the server kick. Also equipped gear icon showing undisplayed items. Contradiction in the Russia mystery box description. And then the last thing is they fixed trees with mismatched client server collision. So you probably were either running into the tree when you weren't expecting to, or you were able to run right through the middle of the tree. So they got those fixed. So that's the latest patch for this week.
Yeah, something super simple, right? That you think, hey, that's not important. A game, having a screenshot key for the game itself, because that's Steam.
You're not having to use a Steam one.
No, the Steam one I've had issues with where I'm certain I've taken the screenshot. I'm certain I've heard the sound, and I go and I look, and there's just no screenshots. And that is something, I don't know if that has to do with, and because you can look, it saves it a local copy as well when you do that the screenshot, and then you can upload it to your profile. I'm certain that I've taken screenshots before, and they're just gone. Like, I just checked that Conan thing. I can't find my screenshot. I'm certain I took it. And
that's the thing is with that, he has those options. Like, he wants it to be double the resolution, so it's extra clear. So maybe he can zoom in on something, or whatever it is without losing clarity. He has the ability to do that in his program, where the one that you get from Steam is going to be purely 1920 by 1080.
Yeah, I really like not having to take a screenshot outside of the game and not with Steam's thing. So hopefully some other people implement something like that as well, because it is a big difference. All right, so that's Unturned here. Do we have...
Yeah, so we got one more. This is Grav.
Okay.
So this is a game that a couple of us played for a little while. But the main thing, sometimes I'll have updates. He always does his weird updates, that how he puts it in there. But one nice thing is he always does a shout out to the people that fix it. And so they added a female character in the game now. So before it was just one character, one male character. So now you can have female characters in the game. And it said that he did an improvement of 2017's allowed drop dates have been updated for special event drops. So they're having special event drops on the servers. And then just a number of fixes after that, some keybinds to quickly change jobs. fixes after that. But the main thing is in this game, if you haven't played it, they now have females in here. He's been putting out a lot more updates lately. So if you haven't played it for a while, maybe for 6 months, there's been a lot of updates to this game. So I'd encourage you. This is 9.7.18. And he has a lot that he does that are just small to where I don't cover them because it's fixing 2 things that are really random. But in this, he actually did an update of putting a new character in there. So I encourage you to go check it out. And that's Grav. It's called Grav Reborn.
Yeah. Now, there is a pretty good deal on some video games if you are interested. This week, is this thing not going to load? Oh, there it is. Okay, so Humble Bundle. I remember early on in Humble Bundle when there was one bundle. It was just the game bundle. And every 7 days or whatever it would reset. There's now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bundles ongoing right now.
Some of them are books. I mean, it's all kinds of stuff.
It's all kind of crazy stuff. Mobile games. There's just a lot of stuff going on here. This is the Humble Freedom Bundle. And this is probably the best bundle I've ever seen on their website here.
Yeah, I did get this. So
there are 6 days, 17 hours, and 15 minutes left on this. There's a couple big games in here. I already had the big game that I would really want in here was Stardew Valley, which I already have. Subnautica is pretty good, but there's a couple pretty big games in here. The Witness, Stardew Valley,
Overgrowth
Subnautica.
is a new one that's just coming out. It looks pretty interesting. It's made in Unreal. So that'll be an interesting one to watch. Right, it's $30 by itself.
Yeah,
it's an early access action parkour indie sandbox game. You're rabbits, and you kick each other. It's pretty interesting. Stardew Valley. Super
Meat Boy, World of Goo, Octodad, The Stanley Parable. I mean, there's some legit games in here. VVV, that game is super ragey. I don't know if you ever played VVVV.
No, and then after that, there's an audiobook. Or 2 audiobooks. Then there's a regular book. So if you're looking I think it's how to program in R.
Great. The second edition.
Really random. R for random, maybe. And then some more games after that.
Yeah. And then it also says more content may be coming soon.
Probably based on the numbers. Now they hit their 300,000 goal almost instantly.
Yeah. They've already raised
$1
million. Yeah.
1.3, almost 1.4 million. So I can't imagine them not adding more games.
I really don't need
I don't know
this.
what magic number they were thinking of.
Yeah. So this is a Humble Freedom Bundle, and like every Humble Bundle, you have the ability to choose who the money goes to. This one is completely charity based. Humble Bundle's not taking. Normally, you can slide like how much you want to give Humble Bundle. There's not even an option for that.
You can still pick which. There's 3 charities that it does like 33% each or whatever.
Yeah, it's
and you can actually slide if you want to do one versus the other.
Yeah, so the charities available are the ACLU, which is the American Civil Liberties Union, Doctors Without Borders, and then the International Rescue Committee, IRC. And then that's it, though. There's no Humble Bundle. You normally have other options when you just do a regular Humble Bundle.
So you can pick your own. So this one they're doing for a special cause.
Yep. And $30 will get you this. I wish I didn't already have Stardew Valley because I 100% buy this, but that's like the main game I wanted out of this bundle, and I already have it. So we'll see. But 6 days left on this, and it depends. Maybe they'll add some other crazy cool game to it that I'll have to check out. So that's this Humble Bundle. Go on their website. And actually, the next monthly bundle, Brian, canceled my Humble Bundle monthly subscription because I haven't played a game. The last game I played off the Humble Bundle monthly was the game that you really liked, Mad Max.
Mad Max.
That was the last game I played off the Humble Bundle.
And I really liked that game.
I hated it.
I know so many people are like, "Oh, I hated that game."
Yeah. So
but I really liked it. I guess it's whatever your type of game is.
I've unfortunately canceled my subscription because it just wasn't worth the $12 a month. So now watch this month. Like one of the other games will be like
it'll probably be some awesome game.
It'll be like Life is Futile or something like that. No, I'll be pissed. Yep. So we'll see what happens with that. But a bunch of bundles to check out. The other one is the Star Wars Humble Bundle. They've got a couple of Star Wars games and books and things like that are available with this bundle as well, and a t-shirt if you feel so inclined to do that. So a lot of cool stuff up over at the Humble Bundle site as usual. No surprise, they're always doing crazy stuff over there. So
yeah,
that's Humble Bundle.
Very good. So let's go ahead and go into another giveaway.
Okay.
So we are going to do, all right, so I spelled it right, giveaway, yes. So this is actually going to be Broken Sword 5, The Serpent's Curse. It's a really good game. I played it actually on mobile, but this is the PC version. And it is usually, I think, $25. So this is it's a really fun game. If you like a kind of a point and click adventure, it's an adventure point and click mystery single player, but it's all voice acted, really good graphics. It's a really good story. They've done very, very well. So if you're into that kind of game, I've played through all of these. So I would encourage you to try it out.
All right. And of course, you can enter ! giveaway in the chat to get yourself in that raffle. And of course, PAX East rapidly approaching, 23 days actually, until we'll be there. We'll be there a day early. And we appreciate everybody's viewer support, but there's still time if you feel the need to throw us a few bucks. infectionpodcast.com/PAX. We are really looking forward to it, and we're hoping to bring you some really cool content from the show floor. Really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, without further ado, we'll hop into everybody's favorite segment. There's no need for an introduction because it is current players currently playing H1Z1. This is Just Survive and King of the Kill combined, 31,336. The 24-hour peak for this, 55,694. And the 7-day peak, 65,878. Just Survive currently playing this, 2,975. The 24-hour peak, 4,775, and the 7-day peak, 5,901. Hoping those numbers go up in the coming months. King of the Kill, strong numbers here, rivaling some of these other games we talk about. Currently playing this, 28,361, 50,909 is your 24-hour peak, and a 7-day peak of 59,977. That's 60,000 peak for King of the Kill. There's a lot of people playing this game. Ark, Survival Evolved, currently playing this, 47,209. The 24-hour peak for this, 72,001. And 91,156 is your 7-day peak for that. Miscreated, currently playing this, 1,579. 2,657 is your 24-hour peak. 3,330 is your 7-day peak for Miscreated. Unturned, currently playing this, 16,322. 28,170 is the 24-hour peak. 37,884 is the 7-day peak. Two more here. 7 Days to Die. Currently playing this, 9,104. The 24-hour peak for this, 11,014. And the 7-day peak, 15,274. And of course, Conan Exiles. Currently playing this, 20,858. 24-hour peak, 33,343. And the 7-day, 44,184. And I would imagine those numbers will continue to tick up as servers come back on and people, and Brian in my position, feel more comfortable with jumping on the game and, not just sinking time into a server that's going to go down. So,
and actually having dedicated servers, I think that's going to be a big thing for their numbers.
Exactly. And of course those servers are new. So people are still jumping on those. So that's current players, and that brings us up to date with all of the numbers on those games. I mean, I'm really blown away, Brian, with the King of the Kill numbers.
Yeah.
You and I have been with King of the Kill since the beginning, and to think that
Day one.
60,000 people, we're hipsters. 60,000 people would like to play with school, are playing this game at any given point, on the weekend. That's a lot. This game has come a very long way, and I don't think people give it enough credit, but it really has.
Well, and one thing, I don't know if you saw it today, but Ninja, I think he had a 30-something kill game.
I did see people on Twitter, of course, typical, accusing him as a hacker or something like that, which it's obvious that he's not. But I saw a thumbnail, 35 kills or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah,
38
it was pretty good.
Yeah, solo
38 kills. And if you look, like going into the last little bit, there's like 11 people left, and he got all but I think one of those kills out of the remaining 11.
Yeah. I am
really
looking forward to the Invitational this year. I hope that happens again because the scoring system will most likely be much different than it was years past, and the competition is real now. This game has been out, and there are people that play it. Not that there wasn't people that played it full time beforehand, but these people have had over a year. At least on the new map came out just before the Invitational last year, so people have got a year. We'll have at that point a year worth of experience on the map.
Well, and if you look, I mean, if you watch that live stream of him playing, you can see how on the shotgun was. Like they've gotten a lot of that fixed, because he was going in and just having 100% confidence that a shotgun was going to hit him one hit.
Yeah.
Before, you could do 5 shots of a shotgun and be like, oh, they're not dying. So I think they're starting to get King of the Kill stable enough to where that's actually competitive. So hopefully that can. I mean, I hope they have success in that.
As do I. And it's looking that way. It's looking that way with all the upcoming stuff with Just Survive and the strong numbers on King of the Kill, consistently strong numbers. I don't see any. They're doing pretty well for themselves. So good stuff there out of Daybreak.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump into tip of the week. Usually I'll give a tip that's either for a specific game or it might be a gaming tip in general. This week I'm going to be talking about Life is Feudal. I actually didn't go into talk. I played some, not a huge amount, but a decent amount of Life is Feudal this week. Maybe next week I'll talk a little bit more about that, since we'll actually have built a base and things like that. This is tip of the week. All right, so Life is Feudal. It can be a very difficult game to get started in. Life is Feudal, I've talked about it before. It is a true survival game. It requires you to actually focus on finding food. If you don't pay attention to that, you will starve to death and die. And it's difficult to kind of keep up with that. Another interesting mechanic of this is that if you pick up a heavy item, you actually have to carry it around on your back. So it's like actually carrying something that's big, and you're walking with it on your back, and you can't do anything else while you're doing it. So one thing that you can do in this is, the first thing that you can make as far as a building is a little shack. And this has a mechanic where you actually have to level the ground out first and make sure it's totally level before you go in and build a shack. At first, when we started doing this, we didn't understand how that worked. And so it took us a lot of attempts, and finally we looked it up on the internet. But if you're looking to make for the shack, a 4x4 square of land level, you need to stand on the block of ground that you're wanting the other pieces to be level with. So you'll stand on that piece, and then you'll say level the ground, and it will either raise or lower it to that level of the block that you're standing on. And so that is very important, because if you're moving around and trying to do it, it'll move the dirt to whatever you happen to be standing on at that moment. It may take several attempts. It may not level it the first time. So, and if you're lowering the ground, you will get dirt in your inventory. They'll give it to you. If you're raising the ground up to make it level, you actually have to have dirt already in your inventory. So you may have to run around and kind of dig some dirt and gather that up. But you'll need to work your way around to get all of different spots. And as you get bigger and bigger bases, this actually has to where you can build castles that are pretty impressive in the game. But you'll have to level all that out before you can place it. After you've placed it, then you have to get the materials. And so you'll see kind of some things on the ground. You have to go to it and start putting, similar to the forest, you have to start putting those materials into that object, and then it will build the base. So it is, I played it for a couple of hours and didn't even get a base made. Like, we got right to there. My saw broke that I made, and I couldn't finish. I had to go and make a saw, and I have to go gather food before I can even, continue working on my base. And I was only a couple logs away. So it's one of those games that are truly difficult. It's a true survival game. But if, as I said many times, if you're finding other games too easy, you get to where you kind of max out, you put a lot of time in it, and you just kind of hit the cap of what those games are offering. This is a really good game for that. And they're continuing to expand it. They're releasing it as an MMO. later. And so if you have a copy of it purchased, it gives you a lifetime version of one account for the MMO version. So this should be pretty crazy. They're looking at doing a lot with this game. I'm really trying to get into it so I can give you some real feedback, maybe get more people. I've got Whatomatic who's been playing with me. And, if you have Life is Feudal, I would encourage you to let us know, and maybe you can come join us and we'll kind of progress a little bit on the server. I had somebody, I'm trying to remember who it was a long time ago, who tipped me off to this game. And it is a lot of fun. It's one of those games that you actually have to think the whole time. You can't just walk away from your keyboard because you may come back, dead. And it is a true grind. But hey, if you're into those kind of games, you should really try it out. It is expensive, but as the different Steam sales come across, I would maybe put it on your watch list. I think it's about $30 right now. When it does drop, grab it, because this is a game that I think has a lot of longevity, and they are improving it. The graphics, they went from DirectX 9 to DirectX 11. So it looks really nice. And there's a whole bunch of different types of server types. Right now we're on a PvE role-playing server. We figure we'll figure out how to build a base first before we have everyone else trying to kill us. So, if you're looking for it, just send us a message. Come on to Discord. Let me know. We're trying to play on it, a couple times a week, so you can get connected for one of the times. So that's it. Tip of the week.
Awesome. I wish I was more interested in that game, because
that's the thing is, I think you would be interested in it for a time, but it's
not my kind of game.
It's not your style of game, and I think that after a while you'd be like, oh, I just can't handle this anymore.
Yeah,
but
I just won't play it.
Yeah, and so I think you would like it because you like that part of Ark, like that initial week of Ark. You really like.
Yeah,
it's like that, but the whole time, which is good. But it's the whole time.
Yeah,
it's like always like that.
I don't have the time to put into it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, if you don't have the time, and I don't have the time to put into like a PvP server where your stuff's constantly getting wrecked.
Gotcha. Exactly.
I want to play and kind of get it built up for a while, and go from there. So we'll see. And if I get to where, this is easy, we're on a PvE server. Right now it's hard enough on a PvE server just surviving without having to worry about people constantly killing you. And this has like role playing PvP. So if someone comes on your land, you can do the whole, get off my land, and then if they keep coming, you can kill them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
There you go. Let's do.
All right, so let's go ahead and roll for this last one.
Yeah.
All right, JD, congratulations. That's 2 times in a row Joe has lost. Sorry, Joe. But I will send you a message, and it'll have a key in there. So, congratulations.
Yes, congratulations, JD. All right, folks. Well, of course, we will be back next week on Tuesday. Our regularly scheduled
back to normal
time.
hours.
Our normal hours. We'll be here live next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/infection podcast. And then we will be on a regular schedule. We have 3 more shows until our boots will be up, and we will be in Boston for PAX East. We're praying for no major Northeast blizzard that week. So far, long range models look pretty good. So
Nick's tracking the weather.
Yeah,
I believe it.
20 days, 25 days out. It's going to be a little chilly, but hopefully not a massive snowstorm. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But our passes came in today. And we're really looking forward to all of that stuff. Brian, where can people find you?
Yep. If you want to find me at Boise Computer on Twitter, or you can go check out my blog is biteoftech.com. Also, we have our Steam group for notifications. We have our Discord group. At InfectionCast is our Twitter. I encourage you to go there. We'll post different maybe deals we find, especially around times when we have like Steam sales and things like that. If we see some really good deals, a lot of times we'll post it on there. So that's a good reason to follow us on Twitter. And and go join our Steam group for notifications of when the show is about to start. And also our Discord, just if you're looking to play some of these games that we talk about, or maybe you just want to hang out and maybe tell some people about a game that you're interested in and you don't have those people around you that are playing it, people in our group are pretty open to new games. So I would encourage you to go in there and let us know. We'll get a group going playing it.
Yeah, our Discord is hopping. We got like 40 people in there almost consistently.
All the time,
I log on any time of the day and just put a hello or a yo into the chat, and instantly people are there typing back. So I think that is about it. Of course, next Tuesday we'll be live here. Some interviews coming up in the next coming weeks and months that we look forward to talking about. PAX East is happening. If you are going, if you want to go, and you have some, if you need tickets, get in touch with us, and we might be able to help you out with that. And if you're going, get in touch with us so that we can hang out, grab dinner or something like that. Who are we grabbing dinner with, Brian, from out in that area?
Heisenberg.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Heisenberg's going to be coming out to visit us for a day. So
yeah, we'll be doing that. So if you feel if you're interested in something like that, reach out to us. contact@infectionpodcast.com. Let us know, and we'll be happy to do all of that stuff. Thank you very much, Brian. We will see you next week. Have a good Is it a happy Valentine's Day? Is it a good Valentine's Day? What is it?
I think it's Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Okay, great. I'm sure you're looking forward to it. That's going to do it for a Monday edition of Infection. Thank you for tuning in live, everybody. We'll see you next week for Infection.